Why do demons help us? That's an excellent question. Once we understand that a demon is in fact not an evil nor malevolent entity hell-bent on causing pain, suffering, or torment, once we experience their true nature, this very same question still arises: why help us at all? In order to understand that, we must first understand ourselves. See, the individual is the microcosmic emanation of the macrocosm. We are the source and divinity transmigrated into the flesh. Hermetics, metaphysics, spirituality, and esotericism all agree that we are all the 5 culmination points of the pentagram. We are earth, air, fire, water, and Akash all in one. We are, regardless of identity, alpha and omega, lunar and solar, feminine and masculine, yin and yang, the god and the goddess. The human being is literally source itself. When source is personified, it's usually referred to as the divine, or god, or the goddess, etc. The regular mundane person, then, is a dormant, divine, limitless being. The magician, however, who actively works on awakening these dormant potentialities and faculties through magical and spiritual means, begins emitting the essence of the divine, the true divinity of source or godhood, and nothing can ignore true godhood. Those who understand their divine nature in depth, with a real deep understanding of how their soul transmigrated from that eternal source of all things, we are indeed source separate from source. We are literally living gods and goddesses within the flesh, and those that not only obtain but exemplify that godliness within are almost always guaranteed to have the spirit to come to their aid. You emit somewhat of a gravitational force, so to speak, which gravitates towards you the aid of non-physical intelligences, spirits, forces, powers, and yes, even demons. We aren't assuming the role of some narcissistic false slave god of the biblical text, rather a non-personified force of true omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent potential. This is actually one of the mechanisms of the ritual circle. It signifies the boundless and eternal space in which the magician is centered within, but also that which we transcend. The circle represents source, divinity, infinity, the macrocosm. That is our sacred space where the divine being that dwells within us, that inner god or goddess, then will summon forth the demon into the triangular manifestation outside of the circle. That triangle, of course, representing the microcosm, the temporal. It represents integration and harmony and manifestation and so forth. And that is where the spirit arises. Through that occult symbolism, it shows that the magician as the operator in the circle, if truly tapped into their own divinity, is the operator whose will is undying and whose word in that temporal moment is the word of divinity or the word of God itself. One of my favorite quotes, actually, on this kind of matter is as follows: "We are not human beings who have struggled to become gods. We are gods who have struggled to become human beings." This, of course, representing our boundless essence as well as the transmigration of the soul from source into the body. For a more basic and modernized understanding of this, a very oversimplified understanding of this, I would recommend you go check out the egg theory on YouTube. It may give you a greater clarity of this whole situation. So now, with all of this in mind, you have to ask yourself, why wouldn't these demonic or non-demonic beings assist us? This is one of the many reasons, of course. In terms of why do they help us for free, there is always a price. And I do not mean that in a superstitious nonsense way, like something will be taken away from you or your soul will be damned. This is the price. Let me explain. All things in existence is an exchange of energy. In spiritual matters, energy is the only true currency. When we put energy into our rituals, our incantations, consecrations, or even the prep work, in just calling these beings forth, that is an exchange of energy from us into them. And that is the price. Even concepts such as bloodletting, sex magic, sacrifice, and even offerings all have that one same function. And that function is the exchange of energy.